Hello and welcome to another episode of Intune.training, the place to go bananas about Microsoft Intune, the Steve and Adam show with Steve and Adam.
Adam.
Hey.
Hey, Adam.
Look at that. Hey, Steve, what's going on?
Not much, buddy. Yourself?
I'm just kind of going bananas over here, apparently.
Certainly looks like it, eh? Certainly looks like
showing
it.
off my new banana onesie, not onesie, geez, not a onesie.
Wow.
Brian Dam, no. My buddy Johannes from WinAdmins, you should go hang out there and winadmins.io, go to the Discord server. Johannes sent me this cool hoodie for my birthday, and Johannes is a cool dude.
So Johannes,
he's got a matching shirt. So when we get together, finally, we'll be hanging out.
Wants it as a onesie. I'm just saying.
Onesie. God,
he said it straight away as a onesie. I think he wants it subconsciously.
Having flashbacks of MMS already for that. Anyway, all right, enough of that. Johannes,
so what are we here to talk about?
Thanks for the banana sweatshirt. It's a hit. Everyone loves it except my wife, and that's fine. She didn't like much things. Hey, so today we are going to talk about Office.
Aren't we an Intune show?
Oh, that's right. Well, you know what you can do in Intune?
Manage Office.
Manage Office. How about that? So this has existed for a while. They've added some features to it. We've been kind of holding off because there were some features that weren't quite there yet, and so we wanted to wait for those to be there to talk about, and we're kind of there. And so we're going to give a introductory high-level overview on config.office.com and just kind of go through the basics of what it is, where it is, and how to get started with it, so
and
that
want
you
to use it.
Can use it and do cool things with Office. So first, I'll point out that you probably have come in to the MIM Admin Center and gone to policies for Office apps and possibly even created a policy here and deployed it. What you may not know is that these policies actually exist over in config.office.com, and along with numerous other things that are pretty cool for managing Office. One of the things that I like about this is that this is not restricted to Intune managed devices. This will actually allow you to manage any devices that have, I believe, any licensed instances of Office.
That's the important word there. The licensed version. So any version of Office that your staff have signed into, not the computer. We're going to be very clear on this. It's Office. It's about making sure that it's secure, making sure that it is compliant.
Yep. So when you log into Office and you sign in with your company credentials that have a license for Office and register your home device with your Azure AD tenant, you potentially can get that managed by config.office. So just pointing that out, that's kind of an interesting thing because you'll see devices in here that maybe aren't the devices you're thinking they should be.
These aren't the devices you're looking for.
Exactly. And so it'll match the devices that you see in your Azure tenant, not the devices that you see in your Intune tenant necessarily. So
the interesting one that I would probably call out on this one as well, Adam, I know it's going to be a tangent. Yes, rabbit hole.
That's fine. That's what we're doing.
The tangent there. If there is another account assigned to Office, so your work account and you add your personal licensed account, you won't see that information for the personal licensed account because it's the secondary account.
Yes.
It's a little thing, but it's an important thing to call out.
Awesome. Well, there you go. So let's just start at the top because why not, right?
Indeed.
So servicing, look at this, monthly enterprise. So this is an interesting wizard that you get to walk through. So we haven't even set this up yet. But this will, you can create the policy and then target this to devices that match certain criteria. So that you can flip them to monthly enterprise channel.
For our one device in the environment.
For our one, yes. we have one. We were just checking. We have one computer in our tenant right now. For some reason, they've all aged out at this point. This is going to be a really crummy demo, but whatever. We're going to do this anyway. So what you get here is I think my zoom is a little too zoomed to give us a full picture here, but let's try that. Let me re-click that to get a better view. Okay, so there we go. All right, it didn't change. Okay.
Nope.
Oh, it's just I thought the one was getting cut off, but it's just all the way over there. That's just the one. It's the loneliest
We need that
number.
big long bar graph just for that one.
Yes, exactly.
But that's okay. Okay. We digress.
So here you go. So you can choose Azure AD groups that you want to limit and target your device selection criteria to. So Azure AD groups, which, I mean, what other groups are there? Or you can just say all devices. And so if I wanted to target a group, I could choose a group out of a picker. And I think we've got got some test things. I don't know if yeah, there we go. There's no devices in that. That's users. Doesn't matter. We're going to go to the all anyway because we only just have the one. But you've got the option to select a group.
One device is patched.
Yeah, exactly. So here's what's cool. So devices will be moved from their current channel, update channel, to monthly enterprise channel. So like in my production environment, we're trying to make this shift. And so this is the route that we will end up going is we will select all devices that are on semi-annual channel, and because that's what we're currently running, and we will target, and this will automatically target any device that's checking in using telemetry data that reports its channel as being semi-annual enterprise, and it will automatically convert those devices to monthly enterprise channel.
So the good thing to call out here, Adam, is if you've got people that are running the beta version or preview versions, you can exclude them from this policy. So if you've got a couple of computers where you're running that beta to test the new UI or change of buttons, or you've been asked to test a new feature, if you exclude beta, current channel preview, semi-annual enterprise, it won't convert them.
Yes, perfect. Yeah, because then you can target them differently. Now, and I want to say that this, and it says preview, this did not exist a couple months ago whenever I first started looking at this, because we were trying to do this in production, and all we had was you just got to select your devices based on channel. And that's kind of risky when you look at the devices that could potentially be targeted. There was no way to group them or to isolate them and say, how do I know I'm not updating someone's personal machine? So being able to select by group, I think, is really a nice feature here. So
yeah, it is.
Cool. So let's just say that we want to take everything that's not monthly and we want to convert it, and then we can target.
Let's just take a step back there, Adam.
Oh, okay, fine.
So the other thing to note down, if you scroll down for us, is we have some options. So we have disk space. So this is where you can sit there and go, look, I actually want to make sure that I have 20 gig free, and you can move the slider across to say, I want to have 20 gig minimum as an example, or 10. Sorry. I took a punt, but no. But you can see you can move that slider to say I need to have X number of gig free to be able to do that migration. This is to make sure you don't get into a situation where you go and target a computer that has no disk and go, you need to update every month, and then it sits there and screams. And then the last one is where you're stepping into, you can go, well, I'm not confident about macro stuff because I don't know how it's been set up, and same with that ends. So we're going to exclude those, and we're going to handle those separately, whether we do it manually or whether we create a separate policy that will only target certain versions.
Yep. Now, the interesting thing here is you notice there's not a move from this channel to this channel function. This is just a one-way ticket to monthly enterprise.
Correct.
I suspect there are ways to get you back off of this, but yeah, good luck.
It's not available via this UI at this point.
Not exactly. There you go. So choose your own adventure here.
Yeah.
So there we go. And then so prevent devices from downloading security and feature updates during specific dates. And so we can choose start and end dates for exclusions. It's kind of cool. So it doesn't look like so you have to proactively go and fix this. And so this is kind of neat because like we've got a big, company-wide meeting coming up. Cool. Yeah. Let's block this out so that people
block
can't
out
upgrade
every other
that
time other than that time. So everybody can't make it to the meeting. So it just makes your life entertaining so you don't have to present as much. The other option you can do there is end of financial month as an example.
Yes. But you'd have to specifically go in, and there doesn't appear to be ranges or anything. You just specifically got to choose the actual dates you want to exclude. But it's not hard.
It's the change-free scenario. You'll know what that's like.
Yep.
So you need to set that to no. Oh, no, it should be all good.
Oh, yeah, there we go. All right. And okay, so update deadline. Manage how updates are applied for the enterprise. How would you like it? So set an update deadline, or let users
in your environment, you just let everybody dictate their own date, right? Own pace, right?
Absolutely.
They're totally going to update it automatically.
The users are always right, and they are all about security. I mean, they are as committed to security as I am.
Exactly. Leave it on set a deadline, guys and girls.
Yeah, set a deadline. You've got up to 14 days. That's plenty. Okay, and so here we go. We get to review all of the settings, and then we get to create the profile, and magic will happen, and that will just get rolled out and deployed, and all that. And so now we can actually see the deployment of that, see which devices are getting rolled out, and all the features. Obviously, we don't have any data in here, so we're not going to be able to see all this kind of stuff. But if you can then come back and you can update and change the settings that you have deployed while you're also looking back at the deployment progress and those sorts of things.
And you can see which build that it's targeting to deploy as well.
How cool is that? Look, big red button. We just paused monthly enterprise rollout. So it's kind of cool
you can see just below it, you've got the rollout date where it started, and then the next release when it's going to be released. So the 14th of the 9th, that was 3 days ago. That was when the 2007 monthly enterprise channel was released. And then the upcoming release of 2108 is going to be 12th of the 10th.
There you go.
So really useful to be able to plan for your deployments and change management.
And that's it. That's how you do your servicing profile.
Indeed.
So not much to it, but powerful feature. All right. So and we'll get to the end where we talk about where this data is coming from, the telemetry bits and pieces of it as well. Okay, so let's see. We've got deployment configurations. So this is where you may have come in to the Office apps portal, or the apps portal in Intune, and you've potentially gone through and you said you want to build out the Office line of business app. One of these is it, surely, right? That one, Microsoft 3. Sorry, it's not Office anymore. Microsoft 365 apps.
Correct.
So you would go through this wizard, and you can set up your configuration, and you can use the designer and all of these things. So I believe that's what we're going to get here. Same kind of deal. So we get to go through all of the config settings. I'm not going to walk through all this. If you've deployed Office, hopefully you've gone through this, or
so
you can you've
one
used
thing I'm going to call
XML
out before we skip on.
Okay, fine.
If we go back there, go back my configuration, grab a untitled. Make sure you deploy 64-bit.
Yeah. Don't be like Adam.
Yeah, don't not do 64-bit anymore. Most applications, the majority, if not all applications, should work with 64-bit. Where you may run into issues is macros, and you just need to resolve that. The other thing to note is when deploying Office, if you're using the standard one and you don't select anything, you're going to get Link or Skype for Business and the old Groove agent installed as part of that, because they're still part of the actual binaries. Ooh, we've included the runtime there now too.
Well, you can say none. Additional products, none. That's not really that's functioning the way that you'd expect. So let's try apps for enterprise, no Visio, no project. We don't do planning around here. And then, okay, so you don't have.
You can do language pack or runtime.
But you don't. But the Skype piece was
that's because
apparently
we selected
dependent upon the deployment we were choosing here. That's why it was behaving like that. Okay, yep. We started at the bottom. We shouldn't have done that.
So okay, if we select language pack,
fine. Okay,
it's interesting. It hasn't asked us which version of language pack to install, and you can select your version.
It seems like we get it over here. Languages. So you can turn off Teams if you want.
Yep.
Turn off Skype for Business. There you go. Turn those things off. We can turn off Bing search. Absolutely.
The other thing to note is OneDrive there. So you've got OneDrive Groove, OneDrive Desktop. You want to make sure that you have OneDrive Groove turned off and OneDrive Desktop as the default.
And so these actually both came disabled. I disabled Teams.
Just because you hate your users.
No, because what happens on Windows 11 when Teams is built in and you install Office and it has Teams in it? I don't know either, but it seems like maybe you don't need it anymore. It's going to be there. Like your best friend.
Yes.
So we get to choose our languages.
Which is awesome. And you can add additional.
We're going to go through this, but we're going through it, I guess.
I know. I'm good with that.
Okay, it's fine. We're doing it. It. So we're going to get Saudi. Because why not? I don't know if it added.
Anyway, let's quickly step through.
Anyway, it's all the other. Just click the buttons. There's things. It's intuitive. Hopefully, you can get through that. If you've watched any of our videos, you know that like it's not that hard to do all this.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not keeping that because it's trash. But you have standard configuration. Check that out. So modern upgrade. You can do these things. So let's see what happens if we do semi-annual channel. No, we want monthly. There you go. Ops ask for enterprise, monthly enterprise, and then we just say, what's that do? Get link.
Yeah, because then what you can do is you can put that into your installer. So you just point to that link for the config file, and I'll download it and then use that for your installation.
Cool. Or we can just
download the XML file.
The XML there. Perfect. Yep. And then we have modern app settings. WebView 2. Enable automatic installation. Dig it.
Yes.
Need that. Why not?
Yep.
All right. Cool. This is the coolest thing though right here. So you may think, well, this is you're just going to build an Office policy, and that's true.
Which we are.
That's absolutely true. But the thing that I love about this, and you can see that you can apply this to users who access documents anonymously via Office web apps, which is really kind of cool.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, here's one thing to note. You get one shot at this. I've asked, it's coming, but right now, you get one shot at the deployment of the group, choosing the group you deploy to. So whatever group you deploy to, that's what you get moving forward, which is not great whenever, there it is, whenever you can't copy the policy, but if you've gone through and configured all of your policies, it's a lot of work to get that stuff back. So
question I'm going to ask you here, Adam. Why would I do it in here rather than using admin templates?
Because this will actually, I have no idea, Steve.
Because this will apply to the application and not to the device or the user. So it's not relying on Intune to be applied.
Well, it's going to an Azure AD group.
Yes, but the thing is, it's where you sign in, right? So.
Oh yeah, right, yeah. So it should apply when the user is signing into the device. It's not managed by Intune.
Yeah. So basically what this means is if you have users that go and install Office on their personal home computers and then sign in with their work account, they should get this policy because it's part of the authentication process for Office, not for Windows.
There you go.
Not that I was trying to stump you or anything. I was just wanting to call that out.
No, it's fine. I just hadn't even thought about that. Yeah. Anyway, yes, good question. Before I click that, there's I want to say it's under the security tab. Let me make sure. There it is. Okay, so before we go do that, we actually already checked this box because it takes a minute for this to calculate. Security policy advisor. This is the cool piece that I really think is fantastic about this. So now we have to go back and create our policy again. So once you've ticked that checkbox, you can do it before or after, but it's kind of like, hey, while you're already in here, might as well take care of it. So we're going to do that again and reset the group to Intune license, and then we're going to go configure our policy. Now, here's what I think is cool. So see how they have these ones called security baselines? This is, I mean, if they would do this with the other baselines in Intune, oh my God, this would be amazing. Okay, so now it's unfortunate because you do have to actually go to every single policy individually and accept the baseline. But all you have to do is click the policy, read it, check it out, make sure you like it, hit OK. And now I have applied the recommended baseline.
Yep.
I can deviate from the baseline, and that's fine. I can set it to whatever, hit OK. No big deal. I can then easily just switch back to the baseline, and so I can always determine, oh, hey, does my policy deviate from the baseline or not? And I can see which ones are included as part of the baseline, so maybe I can spend a little bit extra time looking at those policies. So I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely.
I really love that integration. Cool. This is definitely one of those things that, like, when I'm setting other security baselines, I wish that I had a way to tell that I changed it, because there's no indicator to let me know that I changed it. So
there's a couple of things in the UX here that would be nice to fix, but hey, can't fix everything. So if we create that, Adam, just out of interest.
Yep.
One of the things you'll note that should pop up here in a second.
And you notice that the group was required.
Yes, because we said so. Type
well, but
group.
You can't create this policy and not deploy it. So like,
correct.
It's live whenever you hit save here or create. So
and correct me if I'm wrong. You said you can't change the group afterwards.
No,
so you have to know what you're going to deploy and then deploy it. Wow. Yeah. Okay. So the thing to note here is you actually have the ability to reorder priority. So it looks a lot like group policy. No, it's bad.
No, it's great. Priority
bad.
Great.
Bad. Why? How do you know which policy is going to apply without having to go in there and step through 10 different policies to know that this setting's this one, then this setting's this one, and then this setting's this one, and then you got to make sure the priority is correct. And
well, Steve, what if I set the security baseline as my top policy, and that policy is only my office baseline, and then I configure, and so then I know that one's always good, and I always want that one to go to everybody. Yes. And then I can say, oh, you know what, my office workers, they need macros to have looser security and things, and I can make another
value. I see value, but that's where you have separate policies and you don't use priority order. Like, priority order just sucks.
I mean, okay. Whatever, it's your opinion.
Because because it's conflicts. Priority order means that the lowest priority will win.
Okay. Well, I didn't write it. I just think it's, features, options are good sometimes.
Yes.
It's whatever. I don't know why this one went out into space.
Because it's all the new features. So it's going to docs.
No, it's going to the admin portal. And it is going to allow us to manage which Office features appear and what's new. Okay. So there's that. You can tick some boxes and have people know that. So we want to hide some things from users. And okay.
Oh,
Great. So we want to maybe not show people what new things exist.
That's cool.
I don't know that I would ever use this, but some people might. So
I know
go poke at it.
Yeah, I know people that want to control everything on that front.
Sure. By the way, so you saw here where, or I don't know if you saw, after we hit save, it said it was calculating. So it will actually, the security settings will continue to monitor the policy for recommendations on how you may or may not want to configure it. So that's kind of cool.
And this is based upon usage. So if you select the security option there, Adam, you'll see that the status now say, well, it doesn't my portal, not enough data, which means there's not enough information around recommendation. What that means is it's sitting there and it's going and checking and saying, well, hang on, you don't have all of the baseline turned on, but based on our observations, you could turn them on because you're not actually using them in production on these computers.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, too bad. I mean, it's a lab, so we just don't have enough stuff here.
Exactly.
But anyway, we can check out the app's health, and you can get insights. So all of this is telemetry data at this point. All of these pieces down here are all based on telemetry, and you can determine what's working well, what's not working. So lots of great insights into what's happening. You get app crashes, boot time, file open time. So lots of great metrics here for being able to determine. I mean, I think you end up getting the tools that we keep seeing in here and in Intune are tools that, and even in Config Manager, like we're seeing those glimpses of that nirvana state of proactive remediations across the stack, right? Where like if we have enough telemetry data about what's happening in our environment. Okay, so over the last 14 days, we've seen Excel is deteriorating. Okay, what's going on? We can click through that and we can start to target the machines. We can potentially find apps that are having crashes. It's the same thing that we're seeing like in the desktop analytics portal and things where, or the enterprise.
A good example on that front, Adam, is Excel is hanging quite often for these 20 users. And you go and look and go, oh, okay, they're opening up huge files, so therefore they may need to have a high aspect endpoint accessing those documents.
Yeah, this is what I was thinking. So endpoint analytics, same deal here. And then like even looking at desktop analytics, if you're using that to plan your Windows feature updates, same deal. You can watch and see specific applications and how often they're crashing. And so this one I love, like application reliability. We can see specific applications and their performance over time on specific devices, specific OSs, all these different metrics that allow you to determine the health and reliability of things running on your devices in your environment. Because ultimately, like I've got these tools right now that I'm troubleshooting, saying I don't know what's doing it, but something is messing with my machine. And I keep having to uninstall a thing and try and then like run for a couple days. Okay, did that get better? Did that get worse? And having tools that can collect the telemetry data, I think it's really powerful. So I think it's really good stuff. Security update status. There you go. We are 0% up to date, so we should probably get on that. I'm going to jump back to OneDrive sync in just a second here. But if there were actual known issues in the Office portal or known to the Office, and really we should say Microsoft 365 apps, if there were service issues in the cloud, we would know about those here. Okay, so OneDrive sync. This was kind of cool. So this is the piece that we've been kind of waiting on to show up. Stephen, I'll let you talk through this one since you're more familiar, sir.
Okay.
Even though we have zero data to show.
We do, because we actually haven't deployed it out. So this one actually needs a little bit of effort to set it up and deploy out. But what you need to do is if we go to the settings tab on the left-hand side, Adam. Just we'll step back and go through. So see that tenant association key? You need to copy that, and then you deploy that out to your OneDrive devices. And you do that via Intune, and I'll go and put it in as report admin, I believe it is. I always get this one wrong. Let me get the actual. We actually may have set it up.
There's actually, so
we go OneDrive in the profile.
Yeah, well, so there's a settings catalog entry.
Yep.
But is there a OneDrive one specifically?
No, but I think we've already created under admin templates, but we can do it via settings catalog as well.
Yeah, because I know I just recently went through this again.
And we're going to go here and we're going to select OneDrive.
By the way, there's so much stuff in this settings catalog now. It is amazing.
Correct.
And if you haven't, the September updates add a whole heap more ADMX stuff that we did not previously have.
Correct.
So good stuff. There is a tenant.
Yep, I'm just bringing it up on my screen. So what we're looking for is sync admin reports is the name. So sync admin reports is the actual name of the object that we're looking for.
I don't see it.
If we search up the top for one in the OneDrive sync, sorry, in the search, yep. And what we'll search for is sync admin reports. And we select OneDrive. There we go.
I don't know why that wasn't showing there for me. Okay.
And then we just paste that key in there, right? That's all you need to do. Deploy that out to your computers. And then what you'll do is you'll have a report coming back for OneDrive. So it takes like a couple of days for that to process through. But if we then step across back to the settings tab there for us, Adam, what we'll do is then go back to the OneDrive sync. And what you'll see here is number or percentage of devices that are having sync errors and why. So that you'll be able to get that understanding. So when you're doing a migration, when you're doing system resets and things like that, you can see if the device is in sync and what your risk or risk of data loss is going to be. The other awesome one is that middle one, which is percent of devices with known folder moves not enabled correctly. And this has actually saved one of my customers recently a lot. Anecdotally, they said that only 40% of their environment was set up correctly. They thought it was fully set up correctly. So what they found with this was the ability to have that visibility to go, oh crap, we need to make sure that we fix this up for the rest of our fleet and build out that scenario. So to make sure that they're in a healthy state, that all folders are being redirected as needed. And then the last one, look, it's super important to keep at the current version, but the other two are more important in the sense that you want to make sure you don't lose data, but you always want to make sure you have the latest version just in case there's some security exploits there.
So I love this one because so we've got a network share. Everybody's got a home drive on the network, and we use offline folders, offline files, and the sync center and all that stuff. And
CSC.
We have client side cache and all that good stuff. So we've had instances where the sync center will get stuck because of some corruption, some conflict,
file,
it will stop syncing, and then nothing that the user is putting in there on the local cache is ever making it to the cloud. And then you do something like a feature update, or you give them a new machine and you say, oh, your stuff's all on your network share. No big deal. We'll just toss your device, and you lose all of their data. We've had it happen. And so having this kind of functionality is awesome because you can check and see the status of your devices.
I had that happen for 300 computers when I was doing a domain migration at one point, where the DFS share that was being used was named incorrectly and using the wrong pointers, and it resulted in client-side cache not actually replicating it up. So when we changed the user object, all their ACLs didn't get renamed properly, and they lost access to all of their data for like 3 months.
Yeah, not fun.
So this is super important to make sure you fix. Otherwise, you're going in a system to fix stuff.
Yep. The last one here is inventory. And
hey, we have one app.
Yeah. How about that? We have one whole machine in here, which is already a monthly enterprise channel. How about that?
Yep.
And it has 2 add-ins in it.
I love the fact that we have one supported and one unsupported, but we only have one device. If you go back to inventory.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Up the top, we have one supported build. But that's okay. And that's because we're sitting on 2105 if you go and drill in.
I did drill in. What
happened? And that's because it's our W365 device that we just haven't signed into because we had some licensing issues. But you'll see here that we have the ability to track all the add-ins. So this is when you're doing migrations, you can understand if somebody's gone and done a manual add-in and you can need to whitelist it. And the same with macros. So if they've got an extensive array of macros, you can track that and go, oh, hang on, I'm not going to upgrade Adam right now because I need to understand his macro situation.
Yep. Okay, so we got this learn more. So we've got docs and videos and things. So check those out. But okay, so I'm curious. So we got that tenant ID. And so, looking at that inventory saying, well, how in the world is that data how's it getting here? How's it getting up here? So, I mean, it's some telemetry component that's making this happen. And my initial thinking was, this is coming in through like our normal telemetry data that we use, like you set the telemetry setting for that you could enable your telemetry settings for Windows. But I'm also wondering if that's not related, like directly built into the Office.
I think it's directly built into Office, running its own channel.
So like when you sign into Office, the Office client's just reporting this telemetry data back?
Yes, exactly. So the things to note as well, you need to have and if you scroll in there, Adam, a little bit, make it a little bit bigger. That requirements for using inventory is going to be super important from a licensing point of view. You need to have Windows 10 that supports 365 apps for enterprise. You need to make sure that you either have apps at enterprise business or enterprise, obviously. That's 2008 or higher. And you need to have the license of a 3 series or a 5 series or business standard or business premium. And then the last 3 are super important. Always make sure your network team allows those access without HTTPS inspection.
Yes, please. Let me just turn that off altogether. We don't need that.
Yeah.
I'm just double checking to see. For a list of inventory information is collected. There you go. Data sent for the inventory feature of Microsoft. The inventory reports update channel based on the build installed on the device. If the update channel was recently changed, but the device hasn't completed the process of switching, then the inventory will report the previous update channel. Good to know. So let's go check out this data sent in. Sent to Microsoft regardless of the diagnostic data setting for devices in your organization. Ooh, good to know.
Yep.
So this data is going regardless.
Exactly.
So
unless you block those 3 addresses, and if you block those 3 addresses, well,
other things won't work probably either.
Yeah, exactly.
Start blocking those things. So if your security folks are concerned, you can at least go through here and see. And as we know, I mean, Microsoft is very committed to data privacy and GDPR and all those sorts of things. So I would absolutely assume that this is it falls under all of that compliance requirements and everything. So, but anyway, that the info is there if you need it to be able to justify this information, or if you stumble upon this and freak out and say, how did all this data get here?
It also comes back to risk v reward, right? So that's the important thing to note when having these conversations of, right, well, I need to have this data set so I can make sure that I don't lose corporate data, which is more sensitive to the environment than the data points that may be going up for inventory. So there's scenarios to talk through, obviously, but there needs to be a risk-based assessment that is both based on how, not just the data egressing, but what is the risk-reward scenario. But anyway,
absolutely.
Going deeper than we normally do on Intune training, but it's something to make sure that you have that conversation with your leadership and security team, the risk reward.
Yeah, I mean, please don't just blindly just turn this off because, we don't it's cloud, we can't have our data. Come on, look at it critically. Look at the value it adds for you. Look at the data that's there, and assess it appropriately. Don't just knee jerk at it. Now, for what it's worth, so Steve, I know we've talked through using Graph and being able to pull data from all the different Intune and Azure things that we've looked at. One of the things looking at this is, wow, there's a lot of data there, and sure would be cool to be able to to do the same with that. And at this point, I just checked with one of the PMs on the Office team recently or today, and he confirmed that there is not currently a public API for this data, but it's on their backlog, and I gently asked if they could move it further up the backlog. Can they put it on the front log, please? Is that a thing, front log?
Yeah. We'll go with front log.
Yeah, put it on the front log, please. That's not a thing. But anyway, hopefully we get that, because I think that would be really awesome to be able to integrate into other dashboarding things, especially if you're into Power BI and trying to start, aggregating all this data in a central place, or even being able to expose this data into something like the log analytics platform with the other update compliance data and that you can get there. So anyway, there's data to be had. Hopefully we can get access to that at some point. But this is, as we're seeing, so you saw there's some preview tags in there and stuff. This is still a very much growing, maturing platform. Even the idea of targeting, being able to retarget something or even target to multiple groups is on the list as well, for them to add at some point into the deal. I'm not committing to anything on their behalf either. I'm just saying there are things that are nice to haves that are on everybody's list, and so hopefully we start to see those things a little bit more feature parity and things. You know what, Steve? One thing that I failed to mention, that I should mention, the back in the portal here, there was in my environment, I'm not in a global admin or anything. I'm an Intune admin at best, and the a couple months ago, I had access to this portal and kept thinking, all right, everything's good, and then I lost access to it, and I contacted my folks and said, hey, what happened? Why did I lose access? And said, we didn't take it away from you. And we started looking through the audit logs and all the different things, and we could not find what it was. And I finally was able to get clarification that my access was actually being granted, I believe, through the desktop analytics administrator role.
Yes.
Was giving me access to that portal, and they, I guess, fixed that, corrected that, and moved that out of that role. And so then there is a Office
Apps Admin.
Is it the Office Apps Admin? Is that the right one?
Yep.
I believe
Policy settings management and manage the ability to select, unselect what's new. That's exactly what we were looking at before.
Right. Yep. So I think that's the right one there. So you may, and so what that actually did was that it even impacted me within the Intune portal. I was unable to even get here. When I hit this page, because it's referencing the same backend information that's here, permissions were revoked on even being able to edit those settings. So just keep that in mind. That's actually another piece of the puzzle here. So I think that's it.
Nice.
So
I think that makes for a good video. Let's wrap it there.
I hope so. Hopefully you enjoy this, and hopefully you learned something new that you didn't know was there. That's always our goal, is to try to teach and add some value to your world. So thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.
See you later.